Together, we will build what I call an opportunity economy.
Kamala Harris, the first female vice president of the United States and the first African American and South Asian American to hold the position, stands as a historic figure in U.S. politics. Beyond the symbolic importance of her role, Harris brings a unique perspective to economic policymaking that could have a transformative impact on the American economy. Her approach is centered on inclusivity, equity, innovation, and sustainability. Through targeted policies aimed at reducing systemic inequality, fostering innovation, and addressing pressing challenges like climate change, Harris's influence could shape the economic future of the nation for decades to come. Kamala Harris's economic vision, the foundation. Harris's economic approach reflects her broader commitment to addressing disparities, empowering underserved communities, and fostering sustainable growth. While her early career as a prosecutor and Attorney General of California didn't focus directly on economic issues, her work as a U.S. Senator and Vice President has highlighted several key themes: equity and inclusion. Harris prioritizes closing the racial, gender, and income gaps that have long defined economic inequality in the U.S. This includes targeted investments in marginalized communities, expanding access to education and housing, and promoting fair labor practices. Support for working families. Her focus on middle-class tax relief, affordable child care, and paid family leave reflects her dedication to alleviating financial pressures on working families. Climate change as economic opportunity. Harris views combating climate change not just as a moral imperative, but as a driver for economic growth, creating green jobs and investing in renewable energy.
I will give a middle-class tax cut to over 100 million Americans. I will enact the first ever federal ban on corporate price gouging on groceries. Fight to make sure that hardworking Americans can actually afford a place to live.
Technological leadership. Representing California during her Senate tenure, Harris developed a deep understanding of the importance of technology in driving economic innovation. She supports fostering technological growth while ensuring fair regulation of big tech. Her role in shaping the Biden administration's economic policies.
And I think the first part of this issue that should be articulated is AI is kind of a fancy thing. First of all, it's 2 letters. It means artificial intelligence.
As vice president, Kamala Harris has played a pivotal role in advancing the Biden administration's economic agenda. Her influence is particularly evident in several major areas. Infrastructure investments. Harris has been a vocal advocate for large-scale infrastructure spending. The bipartisan infrastructure law allocates billions to modernize roads, bridges, and public transit systems while addressing critical needs like broadband access in underserved areas. Harris's focus ensures that infrastructure investments benefit historically marginalized communities, bridging the gap between urban and rural areas and promoting economic equality. Climate change and green jobs. One of Harris's signature priorities is linking environmental sustainability with economic growth. She has championed policies that incentivize renewable energy projects, clean energy tax credits, and green infrastructure development. These initiatives not only combat climate change, but also aim to create millions of well-paying, sustainable jobs. Worker rights and the gig economy. Harris has long advocated for reforming labor laws to protect workers in the gig economy. She supports reclassifying gig workers as employees, granting them access to benefits like healthcare, retirement plans, and paid leave. This could reshape industries like ride-sharing, food delivery, and freelance work while addressing labor exploitation. Childcare and paid leave. Recognizing the economic burden of childcare, Harris has championed policies for universal pre-kindergarten, childcare subsidies, and expanded paid family leave. These measures aim to help parents, especially women, remain in the workforce, addressing a critical issue exacerbated by the COVID-19 pandemic. Key economic policies. Harris supports middle-class tax cuts. Harris supports expanding the child tax credit, which has provided substantial financial relief to millions of families. By increasing disposable income for middle-class households, this policy stimulates consumer spending, contributing to economic growth. Affordable housing initiatives. Housing affordability is a central pillar of Harris's economic vision. During her presidential campaign, she proposed a $100 billion federal housing assistance program aimed at first-time homebuyers from historically marginalized communities. While not yet fully realized, Harris continues to advocate for housing policies that reduce financial stress for millions and boost construction-related jobs.
So every day across our nation, families talk about their plans for the future, their ambitions, their aspirations for themselves, for their children. And they talk about how they're going to be able to actually achieve them financially. When I am elected president, I will make it a top priority to bring down costs and increase economic security for all Americans.
Higher wages and labor rights. Harris strongly supports raising the federal minimum wage to $15 per hour. This policy could lift millions of workers out of poverty and increase consumer purchasing power, though it also poses challenges for small businesses. Healthcare affordability. Harris has been a staunch advocate for expanding access to affordable healthcare. By building on the Affordable Care Act, her vision includes reducing out-of-pocket costs, improving access to preventative care, and addressing health inequities that disproportionately affect low-income communities. Gender equity in the workforce policies like pay transparency, expanded childcare access, and paid family leave are central to Harris's approach to reducing the gender wage gap. Empowering women in the workforce is a key component of her broader economic vision. Community development investments. Harris supports programs like Opportunity Zones and federal grants aimed at revitalizing struggling communities. By targeting resources to areas with high poverty rates, these policies aim to create jobs, stimulate entrepreneurship, and strengthen local economies. Challenges and criticisms. Legislative hurdles. Harris's economic vision faces significant obstacles in the form of legislative gridlock. Proposals like minimum wage increases and expanded paid leave have encountered strong opposition in Congress, making bipartisan cooperation essential for progress. Impact on small businesses policies, such as reclassifying gig workers as employees and raising the minimum wage, have drawn criticism for potentially burdening small businesses. Balancing worker protections with the financial realities of small enterprises is a critical challenge. Budget deficits and inflation concerns. The large-scale federal spending required for infrastructure, social programs, and green initiatives raises concerns about increasing budget deficits and inflation. Critics argue that these policies must be carefully managed to avoid long-term economic instability. If Kamala Harris's economic policies are successfully implemented, they could bring about transformative changes in the American economy. A more inclusive economy.